Hello and good morning to everyone, and especially to Dr. Akanmu. And he is joining us from one of my favorite places in the US that I actually want to visit. He's in North Dakota. No, there's no just in North Dakota. He's in Fargo. Fargo as in Fargo the movie. Thank you for joining me.
Yeah, it's my pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I've actually followed your trajectory. I know when you're doing your PhD where you work. Thank you for doing this podcast. So the aim of me doing this is to let people understand that there are people here that have been successful in trying to make the American dream come alive. That the American dream is not dead, especially for immigrants that come from outside the country. So thank you for doing this. What I want to do is to walk through your story quickly for people that want to understand your background. So where did you grow up, and what was your background like? I know you grew up in Nigeria, but just give us your
Yeah, so
background.
for people, yeah, thank you so much. For people who are familiar with Ibadan terrain, bred Ibadan guy. Though not born when I was born in Iwo, and that was during when we and Oyo are not shown together as a single state.
Okay.
So my dad worked with Osun State College of Education with a campus in Iwo. Then it was Oyo State. So, and in 1991, when we had Osun out from Oyo, we moved to Ibadan, and I came in with this English accent, it's mixing with Ibadan guys.
Okay.
After a while, I moved myself and become proper Ibadan. So, but that wasn't so originally. So, and I grew up in Arima Idilose. So this is a core interior part of Ibadan. I mean, this is not New Bodija. This is not.
Not even Bodija.
This is not old Bodija, New Bodija stuff. Yeah, I'm quite bad. So Arima Idilose, St. Peter Church, there is St. Peter Cathedral Church. Arima, that is a very popular place.
Okay.
My father's house is a walking distance from that church. So that is where we grew up. So I had my secondary school education partly in Loyola College, and then SS1 to SS3 in Adekile Goodwood Grammar School, which was very funny because Loyola, as we all know, is better ranked than Adekile Goodwood Grammar School.
Right.
But what happened was that I wanted science. My parents also wanted science.
Okay.
So when we did the junior secondary school education, then the exam, the counselor believed that I'm better suited for art class, and I said no. I'm not having it. Yeah. So that my strength.
Thank God, not that art.
So that my strength is more in art. That I should do that and not science.
Was there a reason why the teacher said that?
To them, I feel like when I look at I would think it looks like the performances over time. They felt like the art courses, I performed better comparatively to the core sciences. Even though I didn't fail the science courses, but I was doing better in the art courses than the sciences. But I wanted science because then it was, if you're not doing engineering and you are not doing medicine, it means you are a dull student. So, and I didn't want to take that path, and it's like, okay, so it was primarily because of that I left. So that was when, and then my university education was in Olabisi Onabanjo University.
Okay.
So that was where I had my first degree in computer science. So a lot of history around that too, because I came in through the pre-degree, then when we came into pre-degree, so we had jams here and there, but jams was not forthcoming. So we had to do pre-degree. And that's 1 year was a lot of mental torture because you are reminded every day.
Degree, yes. They wrote your name in pen.
Yeah, and you have to work extra hard to actually earn a seat in the university.
That's true.
So, and at the end of the day, I wanted computer science and engineering. But that was like uh OOU then. Olabisi University was just starting that course at that time. And then
Okay.
again, I was told no, I'm better fitted for architecture. Computer science and engineering
Really?
is too much of applicants, and we have to. So I took architecture classes for a couple of
Really?
2 years before I switched back,
Wow.
and I said no. Yeah. So I had to switch back to computer science because I wasn't having. I tried. I was not doing bad too, but
Oh,
it's
interesting.
continuing to ring bell that, oh, this is, I really wanted computer, and since I cannot get computer science and engineering, then I can just fall back and I had computer science. So yeah, that was.
Question on that. So you went back and started from 100 level again, or did you, or
No,
did
I
you,
switched. I just did the transfer. I switched. So
yeah,
because 100 level always the same thing.
same
200
courses?
level
Okay.
virtually different courses. So just go back and start 200.
200 level. Okay, so you went back a
Yeah,
year technically.
like an interdepartmental transfer.
Okay. Okay.
As
Wow. That must
so
have been really
yeah,
tasking indeed. That's quite a story. So what happened next? What did you, it was when you graduated, what
yeah. So when I graduated, then I started uh teaching in primary school, on nursery and primary schools. So I was, it was on the verge of graduating, let's say in the final year. Yeah, there's one lesson right there was that I invested much more of my time, you know, while on campus into student politics
oh,
than my
okay.
core academics. I was well known on campus as a Naluta guy.
The
I
Luther
was
guy.
moving campuses, doing
Wow.
dance, doing this.
Oh,
And
okay.
without an extra learning, the materials on campus cannot land you a job. Because then we were doing Java certifications, doing
Yes.
Oracle, Jade stuff, because those are what core academics friends, Cisco network and stuff, those are what they were doing. But I had no time for that. I just tried my
Wow.
best to pass my materials, and that was all. So, because I had to go to Abuja, we have to go to NAS convention, we have to do
Always,
this.
you were always going for all of that.
Yeah. So it goes
Wow.
beyond campus politics, it becomes regional, it becomes national.
Right.
At the last year, the reality started coming in that, guy, you are leaving school very, you are leaving school very soon. Do you
Wow.
really want to become a juniorist? And I was like, okay, no problem. I can just get a job with civil liberty organizations or NGOs and just
Right.
do that. I mean,
Yeah.
that was the thought.
Right. Okay.
I hid most of these activities from my parents because essentially no
They
parents would
didn't
be
know?
happy that they didn't know that. I mean, no parents would be happy. And I came from a family of, you have to earn college degree,
Yes.
pass with flying color to really
Yes.
secure employment. That was the trajectory. My dad worked with higher institution all his life,
Okay.
from College of Education. When we moved to Ibadan, as I said, in
Yeah.
1991, he
Yeah.
moved to the Polytechnic Ibadan.
Okay.
So he was seeing academics all around,
All around. Right.
aspirants in rectors, professors from universities that come to
Yeah.
polytechnics.
Okay.
So he wanted me to become a professor too. He always has nicknamed me professor and do
Yeah.
also stuff. So
Yeah.
I had to hide those things from him. So I decided, okay, what will I need to do? And I remember I'm trying to recall this specific name of one. So I started attending external tutorials of web development. I started getting reality that, guy, this won't
This is,
actually fetch me.
yeah.
Now, another reality check at that point
Okay.
was most of the guys that
Mm-hmm.
were doing unions together.
Yeah.
I realized that most of them then, they couldn't even have a clear-cut path for themselves without actually lobbying the politicians that we actually
Well,
against, and we
yeah.
actually criticize every time. So
Okay.
even for us to print leaflets or pamphlets on campuses to sensitize students or do all kind of aluta,
Awareness.
awakening, we have to reach out to people who want to fund us. Most people who've actually fund us are
Yeah.
quote and unquote ex-comrades who are now commissioners in state
Okay.
houses or stuff. So I
Yeah.
started picking this stuff together. I was like, come on,
This
what
is your life.
exactly?
This is where you're going to end up. Sorry,
This is how I'm going to end up. Continue to continue to look out for lobby for essays, for
right.
this, for that. I was not now.
So that's how it works.
Yeah, I have no problem with those who are choosing that as a career.
Right.
I'm not being a moralist at this point, but my
Right.
subconscious was
Yeah.
against that path because of the fact that I realized that I would have to revert most of the positions I've
That
held.
you held.
If I've been against the government increasing school fees arbitrarily and just of a sudden I become his essay on students' affairs, I will have to say something otherwise. I will have to
Yes.
rationalize
You
it
have to
one
rationalize.
way or the other. I said, so on that basis, I felt like, no, I have to look elsewhere. So, and that was the point where I decided, looking at tutorials, looking at workshops. There was one I'm trying to recall, which we had around the New Bodija then. The guy was very popular teaching web development then. It was in the years of doing Adobe Dreamweaver with a
Yeah.
lot of JavaScripts in the
Yeah.
backgrounds. I was
Yeah.
then picking that up, and I decided to say, okay, let me do certification at that time. Then I was doing my regular program. The regular job was just to teach in a primary school.
Okay.
So I was teaching the primary 5, primary 4 kind of a thing. Yeah,
Right.
as
Okay.
I said, there was no that skill there. Not that I did not see people who are actually calling me to say that, okay, come and start building for us. Can you come and write code for us? We can
Right.
actually hire you. I said,
Right.
okay, come on, no problem. All I can do now is deconstruct Marxism, Leninism, tell you the history of workers, the Soviet Union.
You knew that. You know the funny thing? That's why you were good in arts. That's exactly why the teacher in Loyola said you were good in art, because they saw that. Because that's the only reason why you would be able to know all of that stuff.
Stuff, exactly, yeah, because it is not typical of science students picking that kind of interest in reading those hefty literature. Yeah.
It's not.
So, yeah, and then when I talked to my dad, so at that point, I realized I had to do certification. So this is post-university reality.
Right.
Trying to learn now. So things that I ought to have learned while on campus that I should become employable at the point of graduation.
Right.
That wasn't there. So I had to fall back on my college math, college physics, teach extra classes, teach gap students, teach all those stuff. But the core computer science courses, most especially hands-on programming, building things, they were not there. So I started building it off at that time. It only looked so long because I had to start, doing this from scratch, and I felt like, okay, let me do certification at that point.
Yeah.
And I opted for CCNA, CCNP, CCIE routes.
Right.
I had my uncle, Brother Steven. I went to him to get, shout out to you, because it's part of the story to get a laptop from him. I had no laptop to fall on. This was an FT laptop, 1 HP old model then.
Right.
At that time, I had started teaching in an high school, what we call secondary school.
Secondary school, yeah.
So, and I had to now combine the workloads there. I had to teach physics, math, SS1 to SS3, and then teach math, Introtech, GS1 to GS3. I have to combine that with learning the system class.
Yeah.
So I joined Idea Consults. I don't want to advertise them anyway, but that was in Mokola. So, and I was living in Apete then, but I grew up in Arima, but by the time I finished I decided to leave my father's house to actually
Right.
become a man and
Of
start
course.
to pursue life
Of course.
all on
Yeah.
my own.
Yeah.
So I had to move from Mokola to Akwete to Ijokodo, where the school where I was teaching at that time
Right.
is.
Okay.
Couldn't
Okay.
combine it. But that was the one important story at that point.
Okay. Yeah.
My dad did not support going for certification because he did not see any value.
Value in
What
it.
what he knows is
Join the ministry.
BSc, MSc, PhD, professor, but certification. So when I try to talk him through CCNA, he can't wrap
You didn't
his
understand
head
it. Yeah.
around that.
It's a
So
different generation. So
so
there
and he
was
said, yeah, it's a different generation. He said, okay, if you can work it out,
that's
if
good.
I'm going to bank on his resources, then I have to do MSc.
Okay.
That is the only thing
That's
he
the
will be
only
funding.
right.
Yeah, so that he cannot fund CCNA or
Yeah, this is
CCNP.
the MP. Yeah.
Especially he was so, and that was the time I decided to say, okay, what will I need to do? So then I got married along that line,
Wow,
while
in
teaching
that period. Okay.
in that period. Yeah. So I got married. Then my brother-in-law came into the picture now, being an elder guy
Yeah.
who is also hustling things out.
Okay.
So it was the
Okay.
one that went to Malaysia first. So and he said, okay,
Oh, okay.
will you also come for your masters here? Because I was only considering doing my masters in UI.
Right.
Very patriotic Nigeria again.
Of
And that
course.
was another thing.
Yeah.
At the time, when I look back and I see people, this jackpot debate of
Yeah.
saying that maybe people at home are more patriotic, or maybe when you travel and leave Nigeria, it means you're not patriotic.
Right.
That's simplistic thinking, which I
Yeah.
could say
Yeah.
have always been a kind of stumbling block for some people's progress who actually
Okay.
define patriotism as their decision to stay
Stay
put in
back
Nigeria and not think extra.
outside. Yeah.
That was who I was then. So when I see anyone in that thinking, I just felt like, okay, very soon you will learn. I mean, and
Everybody learns.
that's something we talk you through that. So I was that guy too who just
Okay.
wanted to stay in UI and add my masters there. But when my brother-in-law talked to me about why it's important that I actually, look elsewhere because of
Yeah.
the quality of education, the
Yeah.
exposure and ability to access better opportunities. And
Yeah.
I was sold on that. So I
Okay.
decided to, and that was how I moved
Moved
to
to Malaysia.
Malaysia. At the point of going, in fact, there was a picture which I posted on Facebook then. That was in 2011. So I
Right.
did my master in 2011. So I was very clear that I'm going and I'm coming back to
Back.
Nigeria
Right.
with a PhD. So it was
Oh.
very clear, yeah, because
Okay.
the conversation with my dad
Yeah.
was that you can't just have masters and come
That's
back because
yeah.
I wanted to become a professor,
Professor. Yeah.
which means
You have
you should have a PhD. So and that was how I moved to Malaysia, had my masters. Then I did both within 5.5 years.
wow.
So in 2016,
Right.
that was when I had my PhD. I think June or July 2016. So my PhD is almost going to 10 years old by next year
True. That's
now.
true. Yeah. By next year. So that's how you got to Malaysia. So what was Malaysia like? I've never been. I know. I read a lot about it. It's a great country, predominantly Muslim country, very high tech. They have foundries. I think they do a lot of Intel chips. Nvidia has just in. What was it like? I'm very curious about their culture
Yeah,
is a
Malaysia
very
is
interesting.
is very interesting, very different from ours. And in terms of the education, realistically, they are still developing, or let me say, emerging economy. Maybe
Okay.
not
Okay.
developing at this
Right.
time again, but they are far ahead of Nigeria educational system, so they were
Okay.
able to give much more value in terms of the
Okay.
educational content.
Okay.
So the environment is conducive to learning. The
Okay.
support research. I had
Okay.
my PhD on scholarship, funded by the University of Utara, Malaysia, where I got my PhD. So things were very much better. I can finish the PhD on time. It was only focused on study, funded my conferences. I traveled to Thailand, it was very, very beautiful.
Okay.
However,
Yeah.
post-graduation
Yes.
opportunities are very limited. So, and that is where things has to change when I finish. So getting to know about the post-graduation opportunities was when I got to like the second. There are some things during the PhD, but maybe when we get to conversations around technical expertise,
Right. Right.
I may delve more into that. So by the point of completing my PhD, I
Right.
realized that I may need more than what Malaysia can offer. One mistake I made then,
Right.
not really, well, I would say it's a mistake because if I had to repeat the same process, I wouldn't
Right.
stay. I wouldn't have completed that
Right.
PhD.
That PhD. Okay.
Yeah, so yeah, I wouldn't have because midway I got opportunities from Canada then, but
Ah.
I did not move. I did not move because I was being considerate of my PhD supervisor. So I thought, and this is also very naive, thinking
Yeah.
that your student supervisor relationship is personal, something that should be strictly formal. So
Yeah.
because we grew to be fond of ourselves, because I visited her at home, I
Right.
felt
That you
something more personal
now
there. So I didn't want to feel like dropping her or throwing her
you
under the bus for
to go.
failing to supervise.
Right.
I mean, to succeed having me as a completed student, most especially because I knew that I would be an added to an addition to our resume.
Right.
So, and that was just the main reason because I wasn't at a point, I didn't get along with the research I was doing in terms of what I really want to do and what she was able to supervise. But
What
because
was
I
the
could
what was
get,
the research?
so my PhD research was on information visualization.
Okay.
So my thesis was around, I think, information visualization framework to support multi-dimensional data sets. So it's an intersection, much more of human-computer interaction
HCL.
and and
HCL.
information, information visualization.
Visualization.
I
Okay.
wanted mining at that time. I'd be fond of doing because at that point, after my master's there, I become much more curious and much more hungry for deep and hefty technical works. I really
Okay.
want to do
Okay.
things that are difficult
Yeah.
because I understand that money follows talent and
Yes.
talent in
Yes.
much
It's true.
difficult area will
Yes.
have the edge in the
Yeah.
labor market
In the labor market.
because
Yes.
fewer people will be doing
Fewer
that
people
and then
doing that. Yes.
automatically people will so yeah, but I had to consider where I got funding from. If I had
Okay.
been a bit optimistic
Yeah.
of getting my funding elsewhere, maybe
Yeah.
I would have just dropped and followed my fate and say, okay, no
Okay.
problem, I'll still
Then
get funding.
I will still get
But
funding.
I couldn't risk it. I was like, I had the funding already. What if I didn't get funding elsewhere? I can't do this PhD
And you
out
had
of
your family with
pocket.
you.
I had my family with me. So a lot at stake. So I decided to just stay put and finish that. So, and when I had the opportunity of leaving,
Huh?
I was feeling like I didn't want to
You were loyal.
disappoint.
You were loyal. You are loyal. That's the summary. You have been loyal, which is fine. But again, like you said, knowing what you know
Yeah,
now, you'd have been. I'll see you later. I'll see you later.
exactly. And that would have been nothing personal
No, no, no.
about that. But then I was personalizing a former relationship. So, and that was why I finished that. And that was part of the reasons why I couldn't even access better opportunities post graduation.
Because of the field.
Yeah. Yeah. Because I didn't want to continue that area. I was looking for areas around actually doing this because what we have as machine learning now was
Yeah.
then called data
Data
mining, where
data mining.
yeah,
Yeah.
so that was actually do knowledge-based systems, all those ontology and stuff like that.
Yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. That
that
was
was
what it was.
where
Yeah.
was what we actually knew, So, and when I wanted to get something better, I was looking for opportunities in that area. And most of the time, when they check what I did in
Yeah.
the PhD,
Yeah.
they did not see the
Yeah.
technical means
Yes.
that actually justify, and postdoc or post
Yeah.
PhD
Yeah.
opportunities
It has to
are
be in
not
that
meant
field.
for learners. Yeah, they are not expecting you to come and be learning on
Let it.
the job. So yeah, at that point, so you have to. Yeah, so that was, and then where there was another economic event, global economic crisis in 2016. There was a downfall of
Yes.
oil prices,
Yes.
and Malaysia happens to also be heavily oil dependent
O-
economy.
Okay. They export
So
oil as well.
because yeah, they export oil, they are no, yeah, yeah, they have power too, but they also have this Petronas, which is like our own NFPC, which is
Okay.
also like private public ownership
Okay. Okay.
arrangement. So most of their income, national revenue comes
Comes
from
from that.
crude oil too. So because of that uh, shortfall in oil prices, the universities were not funded well that year,
Okay.
so they couldn't
Okay.
hire as much as they would have done. So because then there was this hope. In fact, when I was leaving in 2016 October, I left with the thoughts that I would be back in Malaysia to pick up
Pick up
a
the role.
faculty job. Yeah, that
Was
was
that was that
before.
was daddy's dream.
That was really
Daddy's
so.
you are living daddy's dream that finally Dr. Akanmu will now be my son teaches in Malaysia.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. And that also highlights parental influence
Yes.
on kids. This nurture nature debate,
Yes.
which is very, 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 very prominent in what we turn out to be. Not
Yes.
until we get our own individual clarity, we still need somebody else's path until we get to the point and say, okay, Dad, it looks like I've had enough of this now.
Let me create my own path. So let me figure out things myself. Yeah, I can relate to that. I had that with my dad, as well. So when you went back to Nigeria after the whole Malaysian event.
After the whole Malaysia stop in 2016, I went back to Nigeria
Okay.
for the whole 2016 and 2017.
Right.
That was the time
Yeah.
I did a postdoctoral work with the Institute of Technology in South Africa. I did that remotely.
Okay. Okay.
Professor Adeyemo, shout out to him too,
Right. Okay.
was a lecturer in OOU
Okay.
where I finished. So it was in agric engineering. And then architecture was with College of Engineering
Yeah.
and Environment. So
Environment.
that
Yeah.
was where we actually met. And that was actually with, lecturer
Oh,
student relationship. So
right.
after his own, I think then he was having just masters. So he
Okay.
left Nigeria to South Africa to
Okay.
have his PhD, and then he became professor there,
Okay.
was
Okay.
getting grants, South
Okay.
Africa grant was doing very well. So we met, we reconnected via Facebook again. I told him this is what I do and said, okay, he has some a little funds, not so much at that time, but even if we couldn't bring me, because if we had to bring me in to South
Yeah.
Africa,
Yeah.
then it would mean that I will have to pass through. They have this national postdoc program,
There's
which
a
which is
national program. Okay.
Apple program that as a professor, you might say you need a postdoc in
Okay.
this area, but you
Okay.
don't get to choose who
Okay.
come to you.
Okay.
So the program selection committee
Has a
does that.
pool, has a pool of people.
People where you have to put in. So looking at where I was and where I wanted to go, we
Right.
realized that I may not skate through the selection process
Selection process.
because
Okay.
they want to look at publications that actually align with data mining, and most of my publications were in information theory,
Visualization.
visualizations, data, visual stuff like that. So
Right.
that's what he could do is to just hire me as much more of a personal research assistant to him,
Okay. Okay.
and
Okay.
just that's a part of his budget that
That he
can
can
cover
allocate. That can
cover that.
cover that.
He can allocate, yeah, as research to the institute, but actually being funded by his
Right.
own. So and I
Got it.
said, okay, that may not be enough for me to live in South Africa, but if I'm in Nigeria, I'll still be big boy in Nigeria till I get something.
So you got something to do. That's true. Yeah. Works.
Yeah, so that was what I did in 2016 to 2017.
Okay.
One funny thing again during that time, and that's why I said there are a lot of growth benefits of insight when we look back at
Yeah.
some
When we
foolish
look back.
steps or mistakes and
Yeah.
realize that, oh, come on, why will I shouldn't have behaved this way.
Yeah.
I was so much keen and hopeful that the University of Terra Malaysia offer will come
Yeah.
through.
Would come through.
That
Yeah. That's so.
I did not even, take offers that I got there in Nigeria.
Wow.
Yeah. So when I
You
came,
did get off. You did get off.
yeah, I got offer from Leeds City University then because I was in Ibadan.
You're in Ibadan, yes.
Yeah, so I talked to my brother and he said, okay, you can just he's not sure how it works, but he knew that if I play my game and try to see the VC of Leeds City, then I couldn't even recall his name, that
Okay.
I may be surprised I can get job there. And I said, okay, how do I do that? I just went to the VC office. And
Really?
I just dropped name. Yeah, I just get myself well suited, just drop name that this is Dr. Semiu, do a clear
Wow.
course Nigerian style.
Wow.
And I want to say, and I said, okay, did you have an appointment with him? I said, yes. I sent a text message and I did, which he acknowledged, but I was just making it look like a caterer. And I'm just driving through.
Driving through.
And, and I just said, let me just see Prof. Prof is I've been.
Wow.
Let's check. And that was how he gave me audience and was able to just pitch myself why I needed job. And he said, okay. And he said, let's go and meet the HOD, late Professor Riogun now. So he was the HOD of the computer science department then. He also had his education in UK. So he had his education in UK. So he was also very enthusiastic to foreign degree.
Right, yeah. Because
that this guy might give us a better value in the department. So that was how I talked to him, and he said, okay, that he needs hands too, and he's going to recommend. And that was how it is. When I got a call from him, that I should come and pick my letter, that was when I was thinking that the semester is going to start. I was like, is this real? And I was just like, and I felt like I was thinking that in a month or two, my last conversation with my contact in Malaysia was like in a month or two, I should get my offer from. Ideally, my big brother, which I completely defied his rule, was that I should go straight and pick, because he's older, he has seen life.
Yes.
He has, so he was telling me, go and pick your Licity offer.
Yeah.
If you want to leave Licity the next day, just go back and tell them, sorry, I'm going. That nobody's going to. And I felt like, no, since I know that I will soon be leaving them, why will I just disappoint them? They would have allocated courses to me. They would have depended on me to take courses through the whole semester. I didn't want to just leave them in the middle of the semester because I have to go to. And that was how I left that offer.
You didn't take it?
I didn't take it.
You never took it?
So I was, and I was expecting Malaysia. And after 2-3 months, I didn't hear from Malaysia. I called again and they said me no, that they couldn't, that it wasn't approved. It wasn't approved at Senate.
Oh my God.
Funding, blah, blah, blah. I was like,
oh my. And then the Licity one had gone by that time.
It's gone. I can't even, I was like, I can't even go back.
You can't even go back. What are you going to tell them? They're going to think you're not serious. Oh, my boy, you're serious. Just go and wow.
So, at that point, that was when I realized that now you now need to look for a job. It looks like
Now you have to look for a job. Wow.
so that was now when I now started real job hunting across universities in Malaysia.
What
We have a lot of experiences
what
right
did your
there
dad
too.
what did your dad say in all of this? I'm
He was
curious.
he was also disappointed. He was also disappointed I didn't take the Licity offer. Yeah, because it reminded me of a Yoruba proverb that I'm trying to recall that proverb that
Okay. You can say it in
knowledge,
Yoruba, say it in Yoruba, that's fine.
yeah, the knowledge, I mean, the knowledge of the proverb is basically that what you have at hand, it's better than whatever thing you think that you catfish kind of a
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah.
you just have
Yeah.
to get something going. Àyàngbẹ ajá dùn, kí ajá tó gbẹ, nǹkan kan la máa jẹ.
Exactly.
So get
Before
something done before the best offer
come. Yeah.
comes on board. So, and he was also disappointed, but he said like, okay, you're also learning
Yes.
about life
Yeah.
gradually. So that was when I started job hunting properly before I now got with Augustine University. It's
Oh,
a
okay.
Catholic private university in Ilara Ekpe,
Okay.
in Lagos State, a little bit away from Ijebu-Ode. So
Oh,
I was
I've
there
never heard about
for,
that school.
yeah, so I was there for like a year. Yeah, that was actually from 2017 to 2018. So it was during that time, because now I was back with family, I was trying
Yeah.
to settle down, trying
Yeah.
to actually, so I was thinking around that. But as I said earlier on, I still felt some emptiness in terms of what my dream technical expertise should
Should
be
be. Yes.
and where I am.
Okay.
Even though in the Nigerian settings, I was like an half-eyed man in the midst of blind guys. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah. I
so
mean, you were not that bad.
but because I've seen where I wanted to be, I
Right.
knew no,
Okay.
I'm not settling yet. So after a while, after like 6 months of trying and things are not forthcoming, that was when I actually had that conversation with myself that how exactly will I do? And I
Okay.
actually beat myself into a industry offer and go
Okay.
to entry role. I was
All right.
thinking that
You're thinking about
out
that
too.
direction. Yeah.
Yeah, if I can do some courses, get some things done. I joined HNG, hotel.ng
Yeah.
internship program.
Hotel.ng.
The guy
Yeah.
does a very yeah,
Marketing. Yeah.
the guy does a very massive remote internship at that
Yes.
time, which
Yes.
I joined. That was when I actually learned version control system. That was when I
Yeah.
actually getting things together.
Right.
And remember, I'm going to classroom now to teach
To teach.
again, which means I had to go beyond how I. So the master's program was a bit challenging.
Okay. So
Remember,
you were teaching
because
were you teaching masters? Which master's program are you talking
no,
about?
I mean the master program in Malaysia now.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
I had to go straight to some advanced courses
Because you did not
where
have
the fundamentals
fundamentals
are
in
weak.
yeah.
So I was passing things here and there, but
Right.
I was able to survive. But I still felt that I still need to strengthen what those fundamentals should be.
Fundamentals are yeah.
Always been doing that back to back every now and then. But because of roles, or let me say job responsibilities now, which I need to deliver immediately, and then I still need to switch back to for the fundamentals. So switching students lecturer role at the same time was not really comfortable.
Right.
So, and I felt like, okay, I was working and I was doing good. I mean, my student would believe that, oh, this guy was actually doing good. But it came from a lot of preparation, a
Preparation and
lot of
studying.
things.
What were you teaching?
Studying.
What were you teaching?
So then I was teaching them what I felt as more my strong areas. I was teaching them database design and data
Okay.
warehousing. We were
Okay.
using this MS-SQL server, data warehousing. Because
Okay.
of my love for data,
Data.
I've always had more strength in that area, and I was a little bit decent on Python. Then I attempted to teach structure and algorithm in Java, and I had my mess at first. I had
Yeah.
my mess and how you build data structure list in Python with
Oh, you're mixing it. Yeah. It can be very, it can be very stressful. Oh God.
yeah. So that was when I felt like, oh man, this learning has not even started. So having an honest conversation with myself at that
Yeah.
point,
Yeah.
every junction in this journey, I would have decided. I mean, I have an option of just staying. I may not really, but I can still survive and
Yes.
find
You
my way
can rush it through. You can hustle it through.
through, find my way around things. But I wasn't having that satisfaction, and I felt like, okay, let me just move in again. Luckily, my in-law, who has been an uncle, he
Yeah.
actually
Took it to
routed me to
Malaysia.
Malaysia.
Yeah.
After his own Malaysia PhD, he got a job in Malaysia.
Oh,
He
okay.
got but after that, I think during that, before he actually got job in Malaysia, he came to the US for postdoctoral for 1 year.
So he came
But
here.
yeah, he came. He couldn't get his contract or I mean
His
that's
postdoc
doctoral
renewed.
postdoctoral. Yeah, he couldn't get it renewed, so
Yeah.
he had to leave. I think he came on J1
J1.
visa
J1.
so that
Usually
time.
J1 is what they use
Yeah,
for postdoc.
yeah.
Yeah.
So then he went back and now came in again with
Okay.
another PhD offer. So he started a fresh PhD. So he
What's his
had to
own
call
field?
me as
What's his own field
in
of study?
agricultural engineering,
I know
agricultural and system
that's
engineering.
very huge here. Is
Yeah,
agricultural
so
engineering is huge. Not a lot of people do
oh,
it.
yeah, so then he said, Semiu, come here. I'm here again for a second PhD. This is what you're going to do.
Wow.
That's
We should we should thank him. He has truly been the one that he's the one that will go ahead. He will survey the land
edge.
and say, oh yeah, mabo, mabo,
Yeah,
mabo.
I get it. That
Wow.
even if forget PhD, even if you come here for the masters,
Right.
just do that. And he is not someone who picked a special interest in writing code, even though that
Really?
wasn't his background. Yeah.
Really?
So
Okay.
he now he even works as a software engineer now,
Wow.
combined with a research job. So he does those two. So
Shout out to him.
he's
Yeah,
doing
he
a
is.
research professor job, and he's now also so he picked that interest there in working on personal projects, and was saying that he's seen a lot of opportunities for my field. Yeah, that you should just come and struggle things out. That he's going to. I was a little bit hesitant,
Interesting.
and then shout out to my wife. My wife then to because she has to push me. She
Yeah.
has to say, okay, my wife is telling me that no, you have to go out. Like, I don't want to leave you guys. They come on, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. Just go and let's see how it works. That was how I had to now, decided to say, okay, if going back and pick a course from scratch would be my best option, then let me have it. So that was how I got to NDSC, North Dakota State University. This is where my brother-in-law was also,
Okay.
where he had his own second PhD too. So he talked to the computer science department chair then, I think one graduate coordinator, and
Okay.
said, uh, GRE was a problem for me because I didn't have the mental
Yeah.
strength to even
Trying
sit
to
down and
study.
study at that
Now,
time.
not with the job that you had.
Yeah, not with the job, family. I was like, no, I wasn't having it. I was like, I would just look for school where GRE is not. For
Required.
most computer science programs in the US actually require GRE. So I was thinking, oh, how will I actually find my way through this? But the graduate coordinator then was saying that, oh, this guy's a PhD,
PhD.
then I can exempt him on
Yeah.
that basis.
On that basis, yeah. That's a
Yeah,
basic.
that I should just apply and include. So he guided me writing SOP, stuff like that, and that's how I got in my PhD offer here.
Okay.
So when I now started, and I'll
Yes.
say, yes, this is now student 102.
Wow. You
So
what
yeah,
a story. Okay.
the early years were very, 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 very hectic. The academic workload
Yes, it's
was
crazy.
very challenging. Every time I was thinking that, come on,
Why
can
did
I
I do this?
survive this?
Yeah.
Can I
Let me
survive
guess.
this?
Let me guess. Computer architecture and algorithm.
Yeah, and algorithm.
Oh God. I remember taking algorithms at UCS on a cruise and I failed it twice. And I was like, I don't know what
Yeah.
I'm
In fact, I failed my PhD candidacy too. Yeah, I failed it. I had to take it again
in.
before I finally passed. So it was an humbling experience. It
Yes.
was,
I think that's the right
and
word. Yeah.
yeah, it was, and it turned out better because now I can look back and felt like, yeah, I actually went through a lot of panel beating, like
Yes. That's
taking
the
a
right word.
wounded
Yeah. You needed that. Yeah.
shove. Yeah, it was very, yeah. So, and one thing I did
Yes.
when I came in then also was that immediately, because getting job has been on my mind right from day one. So in my first semester, when I came in 2018, I did job survey, Indeed. No, it was purely Indeed or Glassdoor, kind
Glassdoor.
of looking at where am I, what kind of job do I want to get, what do I need to get, and I drew out that plan
Wow.
of this is what I need to do to get to where I really wanted to get to.
So
So that is from positive.
I wanted to add to that. I like the fact that you said this and it didn't come from me, because what I usually tell people is when you're coming to the US, you are going to graduate. That program you're going to finish. The question should be, what do you want to do with that program? You need to start doing it from day one. You need to start looking for work from day one. And that's very, very good that you were able to immediately say, okay, you knew where you were coming from. You knew how it was
Yeah.
So now you cannot just sit down. Yes, these courses are hard. These things are difficult, but what is my game plan?
And yeah, it's very, very, people should have to be aware of that because my first behavioral interview, I came in August. I got the first recruiter call in December.
Wow.
So yeah, the questions they were asking me, I was responding completely off targets. The American way of saying that, okay, let us know you kind of a question. And I started telling them about where I grew up, the number of my siblings. So what I did was to make sure I was noting every question I was asked. I was noting every questions. And after the interview, I then Googled those questions. Then I realized the responses that recruiters were expecting, and the responses, I was like, whoa, come on.
God, this thing you just said reminded me of my very first interview when I was in the UK. It was face to face. It was for a serious job, and I was there gisting, the same way. And then my phone rang, and then I picked my phone. Job.
Yeah. So, but after that, I realized that, okay, but that was a very good, even though I didn't plan it to be a strategy, I was so serious I wanted to get a job. But that was another reality check that told me at that time that, okay, looks like I need to learn more about what is American corporate culture
Lingo.
expectations.
Right.
What exactly do they really expect? And I need to invest heavily, buy books on behavioral interviews, cracking, coding.
In the coding interview.
Then I realized, so after that, I stopped looking for jobs for
Okay.
like complete. I was just doing a lot of planning, a lot of mastering of taking my courses, taking courses that I felt could be a little bit challenging or
Okay.
outside the core courses, but that will really give me what I really
One.
need to do.
Oh,
So
okay.
I felt like, let me just see this as taking my BSc with my master's and PhD together.
So what specific classes are those, and what advice, in the midst of that, while we still continue, what classes were those, and what would you advise someone either doing your program or even a separate program that is not even computer science? What would you advise them to do?
Yeah. So looking at the plan, because it comes from the plan, right from the plan, I was seeing myself as either becoming a software engineer
Okay.
or doing something around machine learning,
Okay.
engineering. That was the two I was looking at. Then I have the third one, which is cybersecurity.
Okay.
Now, after a while, I realized that without being a US citizen,
Citizen.
I won't be getting most of the cybersecurity job
Right.
because of the
Clearance
clearance,
requirement.
security clearance need.
Right.
If green card could have a shot, but most of the time they actually go to US citizens. So I now craft my knowledge base, the knowledge base I was building around software engineering, machine learning, and cybersecurity. So I
Okay.
took courses in cybersecurity, took
Okay.
computer forensic,
Yeah.
took ethical hacking. One particular course, I took about 3 courses
Okay.
there, thinking that maybe if I need to go through the route of penetration testing as a job, that will be
That
there.
would be your route.
Computer engineering courses too. I complete the entire because NDSU has a software engineering program, and I had
Okay.
to, so the entire software engineering life cycle has their own courses, right? From software requirements as a course, software construction as a course, we have software
Testing.
design as a course, software testing as a
Okay.
course, we have cloud computing and DevOps as a
Right.
course, everything. In fact, that was why I even carved out MSc out of the PhD program because I took courses
Enough
more
courses. More.
just to compensate for both because I knew I had to. I can't get it wrong the last
Yeah,
time.
you
This
can't
is
get it
like
wrong. Yes.
my
This is like
last
your
life.
last chance. Okay.
This is just my last line. That no, I just have to. I just have to
Get
make
it
sure I
done.
win because there's no home I'm going back to. So I had to do that. So took all those courses
Okay.
completely because I was looking at the software engineering side. At
Right.
the same time, that's why I said the courses have to be determined by one's projection, where you actually really want to learn. So, and I pick applied statistics course to
Okay.
take care of
Machine learning.
take care of machine learning parts. So I took applied statistics course. Then I took data mining as a course.
Course.
I took, in fact, it was even advanced data mining. I took data mining and advanced data mining, which actually go into what goes behind the hood of all these machine
All
learning
the machine learning
algorithms.
algorithms. Yeah.
You are actually using to calculate weights and biases in neural networks.
So,
So
you know
it was
the core details of
what?
those. So you're not just using libraries. Is optimized library.
So I took all these courses. So the array of courses that I took. So even my PhD research, actually the current PhD research, and that goes to the challenge you also face in combining PhD with
Yes.
work. I'm on the verge of saying whether I'm going to drop the PhD, I'm going to continue.
Nah.
But that's also carved around working on automated detection of software vulnerabilities
Right.
in source code, which is
Okay. Yeah. I think I remember
like
reading
an intersection between machine learning and
some
software
cyber
engineering. cybersecurity. This is how I came into that topic. So
Okay.
it was a topic that evolved from all these
All the
areas
classes that you took.
that I took. So, and that was how I actually drew my point to. So when I started pulling those courses together at a point, the confidence level grows. I started
Right.
taking interviews.
Okay.
I was saying things. I was still like, okay, I got to the last stage
Right.
and didn't go on. I was at that point, I felt like now looks like I'm getting close.
Getting close. Right.
Okay, so try to get feedback where I can get it. Try to think of what I can feel as what I can do later on. So while
Right.
looking for a job,
Yeah.
I was looking for either a software engineering job, I could get a machine learning job or a data engineering job. And that was how I finally got my current
Current
job.
job.
This is not even the first job. The first job was with also a consulting company, which was more of software engineering,
Okay.
but it's much more of software customization, using Salesforce. And we are also doing parts of something I could call like data processing, but document processing,
Document process. Okay.
scans. That was even the job that exposed me to data engineering parts of,
Okay.
because I was only seeing machine learning,
Learning.
software engineering. So at that first job, we came in as like a Salesforce developer,
Developer.
but I was dropped to on a job, on a consulting job
On the project.
that was more of doing documents. Yeah, on the project I was
Document
doing
processing.
more of document processing for machine learning model. That was
Okay.
when I realized that okay, this is also part of
A
what
part of
goes into
yeah.
machine learning processes, most especially enterprise level machine learning process. That was where I actually built interest and some
Okay.
expertise in doing what is that. And that finally landed me a data engineering job, which is now my current job.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you do mostly ML ops with where you are?
Yeah, so I do both. Yeah,
Okay.
so a consulting firm, typical of consulting firm where you wear two
Many hats.
different
Yeah.
hats
Depending on the
at
project
times,
you're doing.
depending on the project. So at times I do FT document processing too, which is
Okay.
what when I came in, it was purely doing that, doing mostly software. I mean, doing document processing. We had to do a lot of where we have to do OCR, do
Yeah.
text extraction,
Okay.
pass texts to actually now structure,
So the data.
transformation from unstructured data to unstructured data, do a lot of cleaning, quality check, and make it. At the last stage, we now even have to vectorize those
Wow.
data, vector
So you put it
databases,
in vector databases now.
machine learning. This is but let me know because things within the last 3 years, things have changed in the
Change very fast.
industry very
And you have
fast.
to
So, but initially, I have to keep up with what is good, especially because clients are also aware of what is changing,
right.
and they really want that to be part of
the
tools
process.
you are building for them too. So we have that as part. So and at times I have to take care of the MLOps parts, try to productionalize the model, take care of the monitoring, observability, stuff like that. Just of recent, in the last 2 months now, I've been doing LLM. We've been since I've switched
again.
to LLM.
Now you're going to have to see whether you can build models out of the documents and then how you can talk to the model.
Exactly. Yeah, because later on we realized that most of the pattern matching doing the traditional machine learning model that we actually built to actually do entity extractions from our documents not performing as much as when we started testing with LLMs.
Okay.
And now we can actually work with foundational model. And just very recently, and this is one very good thing about our things, good and a bit challenging,
right?
Because Now they are taking the task of locally hosting LLM models out of us
Yes,
now.
yes.
Now we can actually,
You cannot do it
do
in
in the cloud. So now we use Amazon Bedrock where we have all those foundational models. And we can actually do those things right there. So, and we have to just keep up. And this is it's interesting, but at the same time, if one does not balance
yes,
phase, it could be very stressful and
yeah.
lead to
That that
burnout
that
really
was
quick.
leading to my next question in terms of, so how do you manage that? I know how I manage that, but I think the question I had here was regarding you going to the gym. You go to the
Yeah,
yeah,
so exactly because I realized that to be productive, so I
yeah,
see mental fitness, physical fitness of a very strong relationship.
right.
That when you are not physically fit,
Yes.
that could even affect your mental
Mental.
activity. So if I want to remain productive at work, then I have to make sure I take care of my physical fitness. So I feel like going to gym is boring, but I have to do it if I really want to achieve the other part. So, and this is what I've actually used as a way of motivating and disciplining myself that I can't be making all this money and then by age
Yes.
60, not
And then
cannot
yeah,
I cannot
that's
walk again,
yeah,
your back is gone, for sitting with
for sitting so
sedentary
long.
life as we
Yes.
grown, and then at the end of the day, then what is my gain
That was
if
your gain.
I
Yeah.
don't keep myself fit?
Yeah.
So that have been how I have to actually balance. So balance of making sure that this atomic habits from James Clear gave me gave
Okay.
me clarity how to enforce that every day. My 30 minutes on the treadmill must
Okay.
be checked. No
Right.
matter at times, it happens that I miss a day, but try
Yeah.
not to miss it
Not to miss too
twice,
much.
as he
Yeah.
said, so that you don't become a chain. Yeah, so 30 minutes on the treadmill every day. That has to be checked. Then I have to do strength training to make sure I lift weight, make sure even if I don't go to gym. So before, because my family, they just joined me a few months ago.
Oh,
So
okay.
when they weren't here, I have enough time to go to
To
gym.
go to gym. Yeah.
Now I have to get home gym, little bit of light equipment at home
Yeah. Okay.
where I actually do because the time to spend with family and spend in gym, I
Yes.
have to find a way to decide and turn my sitting room to gym so I can
Yep.
take care of the screen time
Right.
and
Right.
gym
And then the
full
gym.
time.
Yeah. That's
Yeah, so I have to do that because I felt it has to be done even to
yes.
remain productive. The
Yes.
clarity has
Yeah,
to
the clarity,
remain.
especially when so I go 4 times a week, 15 minutes on the Stairmaster to make sure I get cardio and then a lot of strength training. The strength training I realize is the one that actually helps you to reverse type 2 diabetes because all this, the more you do strength training, the more your muscles and the insulin is reversed. There's a lot of work that goes on. So yeah, I had a health scare where I literally had sleep apnea and plus type 2 diabetes, and there's an intersection between sleep apnea and type 2 diabetes. And when I started sleeping better and started exercising, everything went back to normal. No meds, no drugs.
Yeah,
So, and then it gives you that, like you said, that clarity. Your mind is like, okay, you're able to walk longer because you're not
exactly.
tired. You don't have, you're
Yeah,
not tired in the afternoon, and you're able to also have time, for family. So you're not, after work, you're not too tired not to spend time with family because you can,
yeah,
so then I have a question here. You also cook. You say you like mixing
yeah,
recipes.
exactly. Yeah, because as rightly know, getting body in good shape
Yes,
depends also a lot on the diet.
that's true.
So meaning that you have to take care of what you eat,
That's
and
true.
then even if you don't like cooking, like I do, yeah, you just have to make sure that even if you have to buy, you have to know what you buy and
Yes,
get it done. So
yes,
yeah,
yeah,
because I use that as a therapy kind of too.
that's
I
true.
use cooking as a way of taking my mind away from work.
Okay.
So because at times, and that gives me also that balance of saying that, okay, let me just cook. While cooking, I try to think through problem I'm
Problems that you're having in
getting,
the office, or
I'm going to just
problems
take
that you're
my,
trying to
so
fix.
I can do that while walking, and I do that while cooking, because I have to look at, and I felt like when I cook, it gives me that leverage to really be very sure of the quantity of what I'm eating, other than, and it's economical too, because when you look at how you really want to maximize, because I see myself as, I would have been an early starter if the first PhD landed me straight into the labor market. But having to invest an extra 6 to 7 years before actually
Getting
restarting, I felt like it's late. Not
no,
late in terms of late, but I mean late in terms of I had to be much more frugal
yes,
with spending if
ending.
I really want to retire earlier. I
Yeah,
mean, even if it is the normal American 65, 67, and you really want to live on this same standard of living
living.
that you have while working,
Yeah,
I have just a window of 25 to 26 years to do that.
you don't have that time. And then you have to also ensure that your body is able to still be in shape to enjoy
Shape.
that period, that decade or two that you would have, so that you are active.
Yeah.
And that's another thing I have an African American man that is my mentor that I met at the gym here. And he's the one that kind of directs me and say, okay, this is what you need to do, because he's been there. He's lived in a system. He's been retired 20 years, and he was the one that said, go do public sector. That you would thank yourself by the time you retire, because you have that time. I can do anything I want to do by the side, but the job is not going anywhere. They used to tell me that the hardest thing you can ever do for public sector is waking up and logging in. I still do the same software thing. I'm not, but I have.
Yeah. I lost you. I'm not sure whether it's me.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So, sorry, I don't know what happened, but anyways, but like I said, the guy has been very instrumental in telling me what to do. He said, no, just join public sector. And, he's been retired 20 years. Someone retired 20 years, from public sector, and so yeah, and he comes to the gym every day. He comes to the gym 7 o'clock in the morning every single day. He's 72. He says, if you don't do
Wow.
this, you're not going to enjoy yourself. He goes for a cruise every 3 months. Every 3 months, him and his wife jump in a cruise somewhere in the world and just disappear. So, this American, and I'm going to do a series on that. On should you do public sector work? Because a lot of layoffs going on now. A lot of people are trying to figure out, what do I need to do? But yeah, another question I had was, how do you stay motivated? How do you motivate yourself?
Yeah. I think, to me, and I have to be very sincere, what keeps me going is that I really love luxury. I really want to enjoy life. I mean, I have to be.
I like that answer.
So I mean, I want to save myself to
Yeah,
say otherwise. And I
right.
know that in doing that, I have to check, how do I afford this
That's
in a
true.
way, that is ethical. And I
Yes,
know that there are no way around being hardworking.
hard work. Yeah,
So, which means you have to put in the work. That I know that's nothing like no.
no. You gotta put it. And this is America. America rewards hard work. The more
Yeah,
hard work you put in, the more value you get out of it. It's just the way it works.
yeah,
If you put in a little, you will get a little. If you put in a lot, you will get a lot. The only drawback is that you have to make sure that you don't put in a lot at the expense of your health.
yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So that gives me, so when I look at that dream life
Yeah.
that I want to live, I feel like, no,
Okay.
you got to still keep.
Let me go and do the work. Let me go and do the work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the good thing is that I can see the reward.
Yes.
I can see things, and that keeps the motivation going.
Win.
That's
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
If
It's
what I've
working.
invested so, yeah, it's what So what I've invested so far can afford me this.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Then it looks like if I keep the process going, then
Then it's going to
yes,
work.
and so what looks like a dream
Yeah.
10 years ago
It's no
and
longer.
no
It's
more
now. You're
dream
not
now.
living it.
I'm not living it. So the new dream can become a reality.
Reality.
It's just a matter of seeing the work and
Work.
getting
Yeah.
there too. Yeah, and that is something that have kept me going,
Yeah.
and when I see that, that's primary. Secondary is to look at dependents. Look
Yes.
at father, mother who are now aged, who
Right.
actually look. Then you have kids
Yeah.
who actually look up to
To
you
you.
and
Yes.
feel like, oh, okay,
Okay.
you guys didn't. You weren't part of the party when I invited you guys here. So I need to show up. I need to make sure I deliver for you guys, so that you can have better leverage to go into the global, competition and do better for yourself
Better for
too.
yourself. Yeah.
Yeah. So those two have been why I wake up every day,
That's a good one.
energized. Yeah.
I think I'll steal that luxury. I think I'll need to. Yeah, if my wife hears what you just said, she's like, "Shebi, I've been telling you. This this is how you do it." So your family is here. So in terms of, I don't know if you can share this, and if you don't have to. In terms of paperwork, how did you navigate all of that for people
Oh,
that want
okay.
to?
So I tried the NIW process in
Okay, okay,
2018.
okay,
No, that was 2020. I came
okay,
2018, 2020. I tried NIW. I didn't get it, and
okay.
that was that thing. So if I had the entire plan of what it looks like, I would have retried immediately,
Okay,
kind of. But
okay,
when I didn't get it, I just backed out, and I
okay,
felt like, okay, let me just rest for a while. And
okay,
then currently now, I got my workplace support, and I have a backup of saying that, okay, maybe I should go in again now and do EB1. But I have my process. I'm currently on H1B,
okay,
and my
okay.
workplace is handling my green card. So we are expecting the response of this. We've passed through the determination of wage stage. Now we do labor certification, and that is taking
Okay.
about like 8 months thereabouts
That
now.
is
So
great. Okay,
yeah, so I decided at the time that I wanted to go and do AV1, but because I did not have my family right here,
okay.
I learned from a friend who did the same thing, and now the family cannot join until
Because of the
next
consular
year.
processing, it's long. Yeah, the consular
It's
process is
long.
long. So you brought your family on H
So I decided to say,
here,
oh, let's
up here
let's be
first,
here first,
and then you can
first,
do the EB
and
one.
then do so. What? So that won't be. So that was where I stopped the EB1 when I wanted to do it,
Good move.
and I wanted to do it just because of not sure of the workplace thing. I didn't just want to put my hope in
And
the workplace
yeah, that's true.
reality. So and I felt like, okay, let me just, since I have an option, let me do that. But I had to wait and make sure they come in here
Yeah.
before I actually do. So, but when I look at the time now, currently now I'm already in the 8th month of the PALM certificates kind of a thing. So I'm expecting maybe that should be done very soon. So that is kind of making me to wait, that how long should I wait to see what comes from the PALM before throwing in.
The
So
perm
that is
comes.
a decision
The,
that,
the perm comes. I think it's 12 months wait right now. The
so which means
perm,
that, yeah.
you still have some few months. I don't know. With Trump coming in, a lot of things might. What will happen with Trump coming in? A lot of things will speed up because you have more officers that are no longer doing asylum cases and things like that, and more people would be working on the cases. There'll be more people, but that doesn't stop you from doing your EB1. The parallel processing
Yeah.
doesn't stop you from. Again, for anybody listening, this is not immigration advice. This is just me and a friend talking. Anybody would. But yeah, well, okay, that's a good one because I'm always very particular about that. I always like that people, get their, just.
Yeah, so I made, it's just the normal transition from F1, did my STEM OPT, and the STEM OPT would normally get done this May
Okay.
2020.
Right.
So my H1B I got picked the third time.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so the first time I wasn't picked, that was with my former employer.
Okay.
The second time was with my new employer.
Yeah.
I
Okay.
didn't get
And
picked.
then the third one.
The third time,
So it sounds like they haven't filed. They don't do perm regularly, do they?
they don't.
They
I
don't. That's
looks
why.
like maybe the second or first.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's why, because usually most big companies have a rolling cycle where they already, because places like Intel, they have, they hire people like you all the time. So they have like a rolling cycle for the wage examination. They just put you in a batch. Oh, okay, you're coming, just enter this batch. You're coming, just enter this batch. So the wage examination doesn't take too long because they batch it. So the one that takes long is the work that you have to show that there's nobody that can do the work. That's the one that
Yeah.
So but you're on the right track. Just get it quickly. But I can tell you that things are going to speed up now because there's going to be resources that will be freed up for legal immigration because nobody's going to do anything in the border anymore. All those people are going to be working, even though I know the man is going to still throw some spanner in the works, in terms of, hey, you must do interview because I got my green card when he was president, when Trump was president. We had to do interview.
Okay.
With us, they introduced interviews. So, but yeah, I wanted to ask that because I was very curious because I always want people to quickly get their stuff done and just move. So, what goals? So, how do you see AI and machine learning involving industries like healthcare and security?
Yeah, so on the security side, when I started working, because the LLM stuff now has actually changed the whole thing.
Okay.
Because things that looks so difficult to accomplish, because I was working on actually integrating the core idea of my PhD was actually integrating catching vulnerability, not syntax error now, not try to lint your code now, but catching vulnerability right at the point of writing the code itself.
Okay.
So because what we are currently, most things we do now is to do security testing after the entire construction part or do static analysis of the code to really do whether that code has vulnerabilities or not.
Right.
So the argument of building in security in software, which was actually popularized by, I've forgotten the name of the author, was actually bringing everything security into the software development lifecycle. So, and that was where I thought that it's going to be game changing to have this right in our IDEs. So when you write your code, your IDEs and problem vulnerability, it should flag it the same way it flags your syntax errors. The same way it flag that. That was the idea. Last week, or maybe 2 days ago, I realized that GitHub is having that integrated into Visual Code extension.
Already?
Now, and this is the problem about thinking about your research. 5 years ago, I was still doing the research in academics and industry that has already delivered.
Right.
So now, the way I see this is that everything would be AI powered because we've always been looking into AI. Now we are looking at generative AI, but it has always started from the then expert room.
Expert systems.
We just have, expert systems where we have to create rules to really ensure that we take some of the decisions now away from humans just because of our emotions or because of the speed of processing our biases or stuff like that. So now we are going to have this. So this is going to affect everything.
Okay.
Everything where we have humans, then we want to build systems. So the sophistication of the system will be changing. And that's what we are seeing now. So I'm not really sure of what's going to happen after. Now we are talking agentic now, as you rightly mentioned. So which means things will continue to go that way.
Right.
No one can precisely picture what this is going to evolve
Look
to.
like.
I see that things will be changing. There
Okay.
will be need to bring in more sophisticated systems
Okay.
to actually ease everything we do, every workflow. And that is why software engineering, even as a workflow, is
Yeah.
not spared.
It's not spent.
Because initially we thought by building software and system for every other professions,
Yeah.
software engineers are the thing. But now we are now adding tools that will even come and make things.
Difficult and replace us.
This is what I'm saying. One of the projects I've been working with recent time will actually be doing contextual AI
Okay.
analytics,
Okay.
trying to analyze, submissions, patients
Ah.
data, seeing agents, everything. Yeah, that's the way I see things going. Everybody at the end of the day, and this is what I'm saying,
Yeah.
everyone writing code at the end of
Yeah.
the day will become AI engineer versus whatever things you are doing.
Yes. I agree.
Unless you want to go out of that field. So which
Yeah.
means the title software engineering will also evolve, but
Yes.
people can actually use AI to actually build those systems must have some software engineering
Background.
understanding,
Yes.
fundamental. But yeah.
That you can understand
So
what.
and that is where people will have to reinvent themselves, pick adjacent skills to
Yeah.
fit into
To
those
fit. Yeah.
areas.
Yeah. 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 So I took two additions. This is based on what you just said about the GitHub vulnerability thing. Is it something similar to how Rust handles making sure that you don't have memory leaks or something even
It's
more
going
than
to
that?
be. I do not write Rust,
I don't
but
write
it's going
Rust
to
as
be.
well. I tried to write Rust because I've been trying to get into another programming language. I'm a Java person. I love it. I did Python, but I will never write C++ code. I don't like the language. I did C, so I tried to get into Rust, and Rust has this beautiful thing of it forces you. For example, you create memory. For example, when you're writing the code and it detects that there's going to be a memory leak in your code, it will not compile. Flag it and tell you, hey, this reference that you have here, you did not dereference it. So you need to figure that out. So it's not going to even compile. You can't even run the code.
Yeah.
Well, I think based on what you just said, maybe I should just go and sit down with Rust because now,
Yeah. So
go ahead.
so this is the core idea. The only difference is that we're making an argument that the flag shouldn't wait till the compilation.
Yes. Yes.
So that the flagging of those codes that can lead to memory leak, buffer overflow, if you C or C++, those things should come immediately you write that
Right
code.
there. Right code. Yes.
And that is where there are a lot of challenges because some of the securities becomes obvious at the level of compilation.
Right. Yes.
So now, which means by looking at the syntax only, IDE extension must be able to flag it even before we get to the compilation stage. So yeah, but that is the idea of
Core idea. Okay.
catching vulnerabilities as early as possible in the development process.
Last question. So I noticed on your Facebook that you read a lot, and I'm very happy because I've been trying to read. I don't know whether it's adulthood. At a younger age, I could do 2 books a month, and end up with like 20 books a year. But now I can barely get through one. But I noticed what topics, based on your interest, what topics excite you the most, and how do you see your content creation intersection with professional life? Because I noticed that you dropped the book that you read in 2024. You mentioned a bunch of it earlier, your political career. Yeah. So what is that? What's that?
Yeah, so I think how that came into being is that I've developed that appetite for reading then. So, however, at the time, I had to stop all those non-tech reading for like 3-4 years when I was getting in shape.
Okay.
Technically, when I was getting in shape, technically. I left everything.
Okay.
Tech, I'm not reading, like, because it was like fasting.
Right.
I'm deprived myself from all those reading. So yeah, but immediately I have some breathing space now that I feel comfortable. I know what I'm doing. I know how to get things done quickly. And I've built that muscle enough to pick new things quickly. So now I think I can relax and go back to my reading titles. So I try to do yearly meets, try to do something from politics or
Okay.
economics, for example.
Okay.
So, and I try to do yearly mix. So try to look for titles whether I read somewhere, someone mentioned a book, and I felt like, okay, let me check this out. So I try to do that, and I try to do biographies or autobiographies too, either of politician or recently now I picked that of tech guys
Okay.
too. You know,
Okay.
to add to biographies, autobiographies that I read. Just of recent too, invested a lot of titles in actually in career, understanding how to navigate careers, kind of the thing. You know, workplace politics, you
Okay.
know,
Oh,
reading
okay.
about work politics,
Yes.
negotiations. So I
Okay.
realized the more I grow, I realize that the politics is in the detail.
Right.
So how you actually manage even workplace human interaction,
Yes.
things that I take for granted or I said shouldn't be, that could be antithetical to growth, most
Growth.
especially within the American corporate
Creation.
culture. Yeah, I started reading books around those guys too. So I try to do all that. So one thing I try to is to ensure that it is a title, a topic I'm interested in. Politics, economics is one. I'm very much interested in establishing myself in the American corporate system.
System.
I don't want to make some unforced errors. So I should be able to escape landmine. So
Right.
I need to read
Yeah.
them and
Right.
know that
Know
this is
how to
the
manage
culture
them.
of, yeah, this is the culture of this place. This is what you have to do. This is how you know how to do. Talk about performance review. How do you negotiate if we don't have a clear-cut promotion plan? How do you do
Right.
all those things? That because these are things that they do not come to me naturally. You know, trying to keep work book log, try to
Yes.
brag about
Yes.
your
Yes. About your accomplishment. Yeah. Yeah. I agree.
accomplishments
Yeah. Yeah.
every year. They
You
do,
have
yeah,
to, and you have to be able. You're not lying. You just have to be able to. And if you don't
yeah,
do it, it's they call it crabs in a bucket. People climb over you to do it. They would use your outcome, your performance, your results for themselves. If you don't know how to brag about what you did, so yeah, that's a very
what you do, yeah, keep things, you know, how to even manage your manager, managing people's all. It's a lot of things I realized that getting job and keeping job, there are
yeah.
two different
They're two
things.
different things.
Yeah, and even growing in job too demands not only you increasing your technical expertise, your
Yeah.
people skill must
Yeah.
also grow too. So I had to. So I try to pick books around things that I actually need. So when I have times left, then I pick things that I just want to enjoy, that creative fictions.
Yeah.
Yeah, read those fictions.
Interesting. Once you, I think I would like to have you back for another episode, especially around the work culture thing. But I would wait for your green card first. Then we can, then we can talk. Then we can talk. But then we can talk. But it's very, very important. Everything you mentioned is spot on. We don't know the culture, American culture that we see on TV is very different from American culture living it. So you have to
Living.
be able to navigate it. It's a capitalist system. So you have to start thinking like a capitalist. You can no
Yeah,
longer think like a socialist. You can no longer think like all of us. No. And, it's always a rude awakening when it happens. See the layoffs that's happening to people.
yeah,
If people knew about what you just mentioned, they would be insulated. Not that they can't get laid off, but they wouldn't be surprised because they can trace what happened. And most of what you said is what happened to me at NVIDIA. And I'm going to do a video about it because trust me, everything you mentioned now, I was naive about. That was the general gist of what happened. I can just tell you, because if you knew everything, if I knew everything about what you just said, none of that would have happened. But I'm grateful for this path because it's not it's probably, a very different path, because now I'm getting to experience the American life in a very different way, so. But yeah, thank you. Thank you for taking out the time. I know you're a busy man. Yeah, thank you again, Dr. Semiu Akanmu.
You are reminding me of that PhD I've forgotten.
Yeah. Well, that's the funny thing. That's the funny thing about this PhD. I'm like, that's true. I actually have this. Speaking of PhD, I dropped out of mine.
You've done officially, or you still considering? Because I took the idea of I can actually combine work with PhD from your story when I realized that you started working and you
And I
went
went
to
back.
pick PhD.
Yeah.
Pick PhD, then I felt like, okay, let me just get my own master's out, because then I was doing the PhD. I've covered enough courses. I decided, let me get the master's out and get work. Let me get to the labor market quickly, go with the PhD. I'm currently in a better position because I've done my PhD candidacy. I've finished all the courses. I'm just left with writing the dissertation. Yeah, but that alone is serious, most especially because I cannot wait with what I learned 3 years ago when I started working. I have to learn new things. So combining this new learning demand to keep my productivity in shape at work and still go and be writing writing thesis for a PhD that at the core, I'm not convinced is going to make so much difference in my life again.
Yeah, that's what And that, what you just said, is the reason why I said, I can go back to this thing when I need it. Because right now, I cannot calculate the inherent value I'm going to get from it. Now, when I did it, honestly, to be very candid, the reason why I initially did it was the notion of, I'm in Silicon Valley. I needed a PhD if I wanted to raise money. That was my thinking, that, if I want to go in front of a VC, if I had a PhD from a CS program, I would be taken more seriously. But over time now, I've realized I don't need VC money to do anything. I've had, I can build whatever tools I want to build. And that's what I do. Every single month, I build a new tool. I use AI. I just come up with an idea. I build a new tool and I host it. And I realized, wait a minute, I don't need to sit down in front of a VC to give me money for this. I can do marketing myself. This is marketing. I can sit down and talk about what I do. So why do I need to keep investing time in this?
Exactly.
I said, okay, fine. What can I do is I can stop it, make the money, the luxury life, go back to it and do it again. And that time when I'm doing it, I'm not doing it because I want to get one value from it.
Yeah.
No, I'm doing it because I want to do it at that point in time. That's why the switch happened. So now I'm in a good place in terms of I can build whatever it is I want to build. I have AI tools that can accelerate my productivity. I build MVPs in 8 hours. Sit down, 8 hours, I'm done. I put pricing, I put everything. Everything is done. And I just move on to the next thing. Market it. If it doesn't work, move on to the next one. And then all you need to do is only one needs to work.
Yeah, that's true.
If I spend all that time in a program that they didn't allow me to waive my master's classes. So I took all those classes again. I was like, what are we doing? A, B, and C grade. What am I going to do with it? You're not going to collect it. And I said, you know what? Let me just stick to this thing. So so I'm happy that you did it and you're almost done. Please get it done. And you're already in the industry. You're having best of both worlds. That's what you're doing now. You're enjoying academia. I'll finish it when I need to finish it. It helps you. And then you are growing. You have even grown more in the field than this thing. Okay. Well, thank you very much for joining me today. I hope you had fun as much as I had fun. It was fun learning about you.
Yeah.
Same here. Thank you.
Yeah.